Hello students. So this is the next lecture in the series. Today we are going to discuss about perception. First of all, the definition of perception. It is a process by which an individual select, organize and interpret their sensory impression in order to give meaning to the environment. First of all, they will sense some stimuli from the environment through their sensory organ. Then they will select, then organize those sensory impression, and then interpret and draw some kind of meaningful information from those sensory inputs. Next is the process of perception. So it is a five-step process, that is receiving, selecting, organizing, interpreting, and reacting. So first of all is receiving. There are five sensory organ: vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste, through which we are receiving information from the environment. These are the stimuli. These are the organs through which stimuli is received from the environment. Uh, it can be the sound of rain, vehicles noise, or you can say the fragrance of some delicious food. So these can be the stimuli which we receive through all these sensory organs. So the first step is receiving the information. Then the second step is selecting. Now, once you have received the information, the next step is to select the information. Human mind can't pay equal attention to all the events. So consumer filter out irrelevant things and select only the relevant ones. The following factor influence the process of selecting stimuli from environment. So there are two kinds of factors: external factors and internal factors. In external factors, the first one is size. Bigger objects attract more attention in comparison to small objects. So we have seen very big animal in a zoo. A full page advertisement in a newspaper will grab your attention quickly in comparison to a small advertisement made in the side of a newspaper. Second is stimuli with high intensity will have more perceptibility, very bright colors, bright lights, loud noise, strong odor will drag your attentions in comparison to dull colors, dim lights, or soft sound. More repetition, more attention will be there. And advertisement which is uh, repeatedly telecasted on a TV or on social media is remembered by the viewers rather than the advertisement which is just shown once a day or twice a day. Then contrast, stimuli which stand out against the background or the object which is contrast to their surrounding will receive more attention. So a unique color will grab your attention. See, if you are going from a market and you see a house of dark fluorescent green color, and the other house will be of light pink color, so the fluorescent color will automatically grab your attention. So for example, the combination like red and black and yellow and black or white and black will grab your attention quicker than the dull colors or the dull backgrounds or the which is not a bright combination. Then a moving object or a thing draws more attention than a still one. A moving vehicle among the parked vehicles. So the thing which is moving will get more attention in comparison to the still one. Now, novelty and familiarity. There are two things: novel objects or familiar objects will grab more attention. Suppose you are standing in a crowded trade fair, a friend or a familiar face or a new face in the family will, in a get together, will immediately be noticed. So, familiarity and novelty both are grabbing more attention. Now, nature. Visual is nature, visual in nature or auditory. See, words can be better if there are words or pictures. So what will happen? The pictures will grab more attention rather than words. If we compare picture and videos, then rather than pictures, we will the videos will grab more attention. And then we compare that videos and animated cartoons. The animated cartoons will grab more attention in comparison to videos, pictures, and words, because it is more entertaining and more colorful, bright colors. So these things will grab attentions. Now, internal factors. Now, learning is a cognitive factor that we get through experience, and that strongly influences the process of perception. It creates expectancy in the individual, and then they tend to perceive what they want to perceive. See, this we can understand from these two figures. The first figure here is, it is written bird in the hand. In the first look, what you will read, bird in the hand, rather than there are, you hadn't noticed that there are two times the word the has been written. So at a first look, you read it as bird in the hand. In the similar way, if we see these four words, what you will read, the last one you will read as McHenry, because in the first one McTavish, McDonald's, Macbeth, then the last one you will have a same set of response, and you will read it is as McHenry, because individual will most likely to have a same set of mind that they are going through. Next, need play a significant role in perceptual selectivity. A thirsty person will always be sensitive towards the source of water, and a hungry person will always have to wants to see eating points somewhere, everywhere. So, see, if you are going through a journey from Haldwani to Delhi, or from Pithoragarh to Delhi, so what you will see, if in the on the way you have not taken any food, so you will search for restaurant. You will move your head here and there, and you will look for some kind of restaurants if you are hungry. So you will it depends on need also. A person who has a need for affiliation will always join the group of friends in leisure time, and a person who wants to go for satisfying the need of achievement, they will tend to even hard work in leisure time. They don't want to spend time with friends. They want to accomplish their goals in their life. Now, see, age is also an important factor in perception. Different age groups have different kinds of perception. Old senior executives will always feel that the young workers or young executives are not competitive enough, and to take important decisions for the organization. They consider themselves as more experienced. Um, Whereas young staff complain that the older staff are resistant to change, they don't want to go for any new technology, they are not tech savvy, and they want to follow the trend that has been going on since a long time, and they want to go for the conventional methods rather than the some innovative methods. Now, interest is also an important thing uh, that comes into picture in influencing the perception. A fashion designer will notice so many details in an outfit that is hanged in a dummy outside a shop. Whereas in just a casual look or a first look, she can tell, okay, the design was like this, and the color was like this, and this was resembling to this designer or like that. But a routine visitor will not observe the same details of the same outfit, even if he looks for the same outfit for n number of times. Now the next step is organizing. The mm, After receiving and selecting the stimuli from the environment, the data must be organized in a particular fashion to extract the meaning out of it. Perceptual organization is a cognitive process, and it is based on following principles. So I am one by one, I am telling the principles. The first one is the figure and ground. This principle is considered as a basic form of organizing the perceptual set. It says that the object, event, or the person which is being perceived stand out from the background. This we can understand from this figure. If we consider the black as a background, that black part as a background, then what we will see is we will see a kind of vase here which is white in color. Whereas if we look white as a background, then we see that these are two faces. So it depends on what is being perceived uh, by the individual. Okay. The second principle is perceptual grouping. Uh, there are subparts of it. So first of all, what is perceptual grouping? Tendency to group the stimuli into some meaningful pattern. Now, grouping includes similarity, proximity, closure, and continuity. Now, the first one, you see the similarity. Here, one figure is there where plus symbol and zero symbols have been written here. So, what we do here is the similar shapes, similar color, similar size tend to be grouped together. Whereas, if we see this figure, we will consider them as four rows instead of seeing as the column, because we consider that the plus as one set, zero as one set, another plus sign as one set, the last zero as another set. So this is kind of similarity pattern. Second one is the proximity, objects placed together as one group. So if we see the first row, we can see two groups of four circles. As they are being kept together on the basis of proximity, we are saying that this is two groups. Whereas if we look for second group, there are four, second row, we can see four groups of two circles. So here one circle, one group, two group, third group, the fourth group. Whereas in the first row, only one first group and the second group. Okay, so this is on the basis of proximity. Now closure, tendency to perceive the object as a whole, even the some parts are missing. So what we can see here, this is a circle, but some of its parts are missing, but we are assuming that it is a circle on the basis of the parts which has been shown here. So in the similar way, in an organization, a sincere, honest, hard-working worker will be perceived as a good performer, even if he is not behaving in a usual way, or he is behaving in a contradictory way. So even though we will consider them as a good performer, then the continuity, the principle of continuity assumes that the individual tend to perceive the continuous lines or patterns. People tend to perceive the obvious ways of performing the task and fail to think creatively. Continuity means you can understand in terms of monotonity what the monotonous things will be going on. They forget to think in a creative way. The flexibility will not be there, and non-creative thinking on the part of employees. So continuity means the things that are going in a conventional ways, they will tend to perceive as a continuous line and continuous pattern. They are behaving in the same way and they are not thinking in a creative way. Now the fourth part is in organizing is perceptual grouping is sorry, perceptual constancy, tendency to perceive certain characteristics of an object as remaining constant despite of variation in the stimuli. First is shape constancy. An object appears to maintain its shape despite of the marked changes. Size constancy means object size remain unchanged even if it moves farther away from us, the size will be as it is. The color constancy, same color if they are exposed to some changed condition. For example, a car owner will see his car as red color even if he sees that car in bright color, bright light or dim light, he will consider it as a red colored car. Now, this part is a perceptual defense. This principle states that the individual tend to build some this defense or resistance against the stimuli which are conflicting according to their belief or threatening or unacceptable for them. Defense maybe in the four forms like outright denial or modification of the data received, change in the perception but refusal to change, change in the perception itself. So these can be the thing which comes in a conflicting way for a consumer. Now interpreting, mm, then perceptual set, previously held beliefs or experiences about an object influence the individual perception about similar object. See, we have a set of beliefs or we have some kind of experiences that dwell in our mind and create a set that is known as perceptual set. So, for example, an old manager have developed a general belief that young executives are generally absent from the jobs. They are not committed. They are not hardworking as they are. They previously held belief will always influence his perception. Whenever he will meet a new worker, he will think that every new worker is not punctual and they are absentees and they are not committed towards job. Then stereotyping, it is judging someone on the basis of group to which he belongs. An individual perception about one person will be influenced by its experiences with other members of the group to which that person belongs. So we think like if a person is belonging to a group of hard workers, so that person will be perceived as hard worker only. In the similar way, if a good person is belonging to a group of bad boys, so that good boy will also be perceived as a bad boy because of its company. In the similar way, like Americans are materialistic, Japanese are nationalistics, workers are anti-management. The best example we can understand is we consider that banyas are miser and they are not spending money, but there are many banyas who are not like that, but even because they are belonging to that banya community, so they will be considered as miser. Hello effect, it is the first impression. We judge the person on the basis of the single trait, which can be good or a bad, which can be good or a bad trait, but that should be the first impression. A person who is just kind may be perceived as a good, able, helpful, and the person who is rude may always be perceived as awful, aggressive, unkind, harmful. But it is not a correct way of judging a person. And halo effect is a common error done by managers while evaluating their subordinates, because the first impression was not, it is not depicting the actual uh, personality of the person. So projection is the tendency of assigning own attributes to other. See, it is we consider, if we are honest, we are thinking that the other person will be honest itself. It is easy to judge other if we assume they are like us. We try to assume that the other person will be like us only. Projecting own feelings, abilities, motives, tendencies into judgment of others. A manager who himself is punctual assumes that all the staff members of the office are punctual, but which may not be true. Implicit personality theory. When we make judgment about others, our perception is influenced by the belief that certain human traits are associated with others. It is generally said that honest person uh, is hardworking, but it is not necessary that a person who is honest will be hardworking. But most of the time, this may be true, but it is not true in every case. Now, selective perception. Individuals have a tendency to select certain objects which they find relevant to their existing beliefs, and they eradicate and they filter out those which are not relevant to their are relevant to them. Hence, we select certain stimuli and we reject we screen out the other. Now, attribution, the important thing that comes here, it is a process of assigning causes to the behavior. Why the particular behavior is caused? What could be the possible reason for displaying that kind of behavior? People are interested not only in observing the behavior but also determining what was the cause of that behavior. So the cause of behavior can be internal or external. Internally caused behavior are under the control of an individual, whereas externally caused behavior are beyond the control of an individual. So cause of behavior depend on three factors, that is distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. So I will be explaining all these three one by one. Distinctiveness, whether the individual displays different behavior in different situations. In that case, it is called externally caused. If the person is behaving different behaviors in different class, behaves in the similar way in the different situations, then it is internally caused. See, if a student is behaving differently with different faculty members, then the behavior is externally caused. If the or you can say, see, a child is quiet in one class and the child is very savage and he's not showing etiquettes in different class, then the behavior is externally caused. Whereas if a child is loud and shouting to each of the faculty members, then it is internally caused. So consensus, when everyone behaves in the same way whenever they face the similar situation. See, there are certain situations, and we expect that the people will behave in a particular manner only. So, in that case, it is externally caused. If there is consensus in everyone's behavior, if each student of the class is behaving in a rude or they are not paying attention in the class to a particular faculty member, so then it can be caused as externally caused, because their behavior is consensus and all of them are behaving in a similar manner. So this is the chart that have been shown here, that is observation, interpretation, and attribution of first. This is the observation of individual behavior, then interpretation, that is distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. See, if distinctiveness is high, means he's behaving differently in different uh, situation, so it is external. If it is not different, then it is internal. In the similar way, consensus is high, then it is externally caused. If consensus is low, it is internally caused. Whereas consistency, it is high or low depending on internal and external factors. So errors in attribution. So there are two main errors in attribution. First, when we judge behaviors of others, we tend to estimate the influence of external factor and overestimate the influence of internal factors. ठीक है, तो हम क्या करते हैं कि जब हम किसी और को जज करते हैं, सपोज someone got selected for a job, so हम कहते हैं oh, there must be external factors, he was not that much talented but he got the job. So there are some other factors, maybe he is knowing some of the interviewer, or he gave money or something like that, we say. We will not what we will do is we underestimate the external factors and overestimate the influence of internal factors. Whereas self-servicing wise, when we make judgment about own behavior, we tend to attribute our success to internal factors. We behave, oh, we are very talented. Suppose we got the job and we will think, okay, we got the job and we have very good abilities, and putting blames of fail. When we got failure, we external factors, oh, that faculty didn't teach well, or the faulty equipment for the lab instrument, material shortage, or these could be the means. For success we are giving benefits to, we are saying that we were talented, and in case of failure we are saying that it is the fault of some other person, we are putting the blame on some others. Now reacting is the last stage of the perceptual process, ends up when perceiver is indulged into some action. Now you have received the information, you have selected organized, interpreted. Now the last one is to react, to take some kind of action. Action of perception means when you are taking some kind of um, action. So what you call it is perceptual output. Output could be, outcome can be attitude, opinion, beliefs, feeling of the perception perceiver regarding an object or a person. Now the action will be based on whether the perception is favorable or unfavorable. If perception was favorable, sorry, it was, if it was positive perception, then the action will be favorable. Suppose the brand got positive impression in the mind of consumer and they perceive the brand as good, so they will go for that particular brand and they will purchase the brand. So that will is that will be the favorable action. Whereas suppose the brand is not able to create a positive impression in the mind of consumer, so there will be a negative perception and they will not buy that particular brand, so that will be the unfavorable action. Now these are the factors influencing perception. Factors in the situations like physical setting, organizational settings, characteristics of the perceiver like need, attitudes, values, experience, whereas the characteristics of the perceived appearance and behavior. So factors influencing perception, characteristics of the perceiver, an individual's past experience, needs, habit, personality, values, attitudes influence the perceptual process. If a manager holds a negative belief that an attitude towards the employee union, whenever he will dislike and express his resentment for even a routine visit of a union official in the plant. So once you have a negative attitude towards someone, you will have negative uh, the negative things will come to your mind whenever you meet that particular person. Characteristics of the perceived like physical attributes, appearance and behavior also influence the perception. Physical attributes like age, gender, height, weight affects the way of the person being perceived. Perceivers tend to notice the physical characteristics, and what exactly happens is physical attractiveness always grab attention. In the similar way, you must have seen in most of the ads, the celebrities were introduced to grab consumers' attention. One another example is interviewer rate attractive candidates more favorably rather than other unattractive candidates, and attractive candidates will be awarded more salaries. Characteristics of the situation, the physical, social, organizational settings of a situation also influence the perception. For example, the conversation with the boss held in the reception area uh, will be a different chat rather than the conversation that is held in the office where in a sound and peace environment, both the chats will be considered differently. So perception in both the cases will be different. So we will be wrapping up the perception process here. So it started with how you select, organize, and interpret that information. Then we saw the process of perception. Then we saw about attribution, and then at last we look for the factors that affect the perceptions. So here we end up with perception. In the next lecture, we are going to see about emotions. Thank you for devoting your time.